My name is Sarah, and on March 17th, 2019, I died for 8 minutes at age 15. I was a committed atheist who mocked anyone who believed in God or an afterlife. What happened during those 8 minutes changed everything I thought I knew about reality. Jesus showed me 3 events coming before 2030, and one of them is war. I grew up in a home where God was never mentioned except as a punchline. My father was a biology professor, my mother a software engineer. Our dinner table conversations revolved around evolution, the Big Bang Theory, and rational thinking. I was proud of my atheism. I saw it as intellectual superiority, a sign that I had risen above the primitive need for imaginary comfort. I remember being 12 years old at Thanksgiving, sitting across from my cousin who had just returned from a church youth retreat. She was glowing, talking about how God had changed her life. I rolled my eyes so hard they hurt. I told her that believing in God was like believing in Santa Claus, childish, wishful thinking for people too weak to face reality. My parents smiled at me approvingly. My grandmother, sitting at the end of the table, just looked sad and said she would pray for me. I laughed. I actually laughed at her. At school, I wore my atheism like a badge of honor. While my friends went to church on Sundays, I stayed home reading Dawkins and Hitchens, arming myself with arguments against faith. I felt superior, enlightened, free from the delusions that trapped so many others. I had my whole life planned out. Astrophysics degree, work at NASA, explore the cosmos, and prove once and for all that the universe needed no creator. Death to me meant simply ceasing to exist. And I was completely fine with that. The idea of consciousness ending did not scare me. It felt honest, clean, final. March the 17th, 2019 started like any other Sunday. I remember the smell of my mother's coffee drifting up to my room, the sound of my father watching the morning news. I came downstairs wearing my favorite hoodie, dark blue with the periodic table printed on the front. I had plans to study for a chemistry exam with friends that afternoon. The weather was clear, about 58 degrees, perfect for a bike ride. I was scrolling through social media, laughing at memes, thinking about absolutely nothing important. Life felt simple, predictable, safe. I had no idea that in 3 hours, everything I believed would be shattered. I left the house around 11:30 in the morning, riding my bike toward the library. I remember the intersection of Pine Street and Oak Avenue. I remember the exact spot. Then suddenly, a pain exploded in my chest like something had detonated inside my ribcage. I collapsed immediately. My bike clattered to the pavement. A passerby said I was unconscious before I even hit the ground. I would later learn that I had an undetected congenital heart defect, a ticking time bomb that finally went off. The ambulance arrived in 6 minutes. By then, I was already clinically dead. No heartbeat, no breathing, pupils fixed and dilated. The EMTs worked on me in the ambulance and continued in the emergency room. The doctors told me later that I was dead for 8 minutes. My brain should not have recovered. Medically, I should have been brain dead or severely damaged, but I was not in my body anymore. I was floating near the ceiling of the emergency room, looking down at this broken girl on the table below me. It took me several seconds to realize that broken girl was me. My body looked small, pale, lifeless, like a discarded doll. There were 6 medical personnel working frantically. I could see everything with impossible clarity, like I had 360-degree awareness. The doctor's watch read 11:47. A nurse had a coffee stain on her scrub top shaped like a butterfly. A male doctor, maybe in his 40s, said to a younger resident, "We are losing her." Another nurse whispered, "She is so young," and I saw tears in her eyes. I heard the defibrillator charging, that high-pitched whine. Then I saw my mother burst through the doors. My father caught her as her knees buckled. I felt detached, almost curious, like I was watching a medical drama and not my own death. But then panic hit me like a freight train. I was still conscious. I was still me. I was still thinking, observing, feeling. Wait, I was not supposed to still exist. Atheists do not have souls. There is no afterlife. This cannot be happening. But it was. And then the hospital room began to fade, and I knew something far more terrifying was coming. The hospital room dissolved around me. It was not like going blind. It was more like reality itself was melting away. I felt a pulling sensation, gentle but completely irresistible. I was moving away from my body, faster and faster. People talk about a tunnel, and maybe that is the closest description, but it felt more like traveling through layers of reality itself. There was darkness, but it was not empty. It was full of presence, weight, potential. The temperature changed. The hospital cold melted into infinite warmth. The sounds changed too. Medical machines faded away, replaced by something like music, but deeper, richer, more alive than any music I had ever heard. I was terrified. Everything I had built my worldview on was crumbling in real time. I tried to resist. I tried to go back to my body, but I had no control. I was being taken somewhere, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. Time felt strange, seconds stretched into hours, or maybe hours compressed into seconds. I could not tell anymore, but I became aware that I was approaching something, someone. There was light ahead, but not harsh. It was golden, living, intelligent light. And then the light resolved into a figure, a presence, a person. I knew immediately who he was, not from Sunday school, not from culture, not from books. I knew from somewhere deeper than knowledge, this was Jesus Christ. And here is what terrified me most. I had spent 15 years denying he existed, 15 years mocking people who believed in him, 15 years building my identity on the certainty that he was a myth. His appearance is hard to describe in physical terms. He was not the blonde, blue-eyed figure from paintings. His features looked Middle Eastern, but his appearance kept shifting. Sometimes I saw light, sometimes a man, sometimes both at once. What stayed constant were his eyes. Eyes that held galaxies. Eyes that held time. Eyes that held every moment of existence. When he looked at me, I felt completely seen. Every thought I had ever thought, every secret I had ever kept, every cruelty I had ever committed. I saw myself at age 8, stealing money from my mother's purse and lying about it. I saw myself at 11, spreading a rumor about a girl I was jealous of, watching her cry in the bathroom while I felt smug. I saw myself at 13, telling my grandmother that her faith was a mental illness, seeing her face crumble. Every harsh word, every prideful thought, every moment I chose my ego over kindness. It all played before me like a film I could not stop watching. I expected condemnation. I expected anger. I expected him to say, "I told you so." Instead, what hit me was love. Love so powerful, it felt like being held by the sun itself. Not sentimental love, not soft love, fierce, pure, absolute love. Love that saw all my worst parts and loved me anyway. How do I explain this to you? Imagine every good feeling you have ever had, every moment of joy, every second of peace, and multiply it by infinity. That is a fraction of what I felt. I started to cry, or whatever crying is when you do not have a body anymore. "I am sorry," I said. "I am so sorry. I did not believe. I mocked you. I was so arrogant." His response was not words exactly. It was more like truth transmitted directly into my consciousness. "I know, beloved. I have always known, and I have always loved you. Even when you denied me, I was with you, every moment." He showed me flashes of my life. Times I felt inexplicably comforted when I was sad. Times I narrowly avoided danger without knowing why. Times I felt a strange pull toward kindness, even when I wanted to be cruel. "That was you?" I asked. "Always," he answered. I broke. Not in a bad way. I broke open. 15 years of pride and certainty shattered, and underneath was just a girl who had been so afraid of being wrong that she convinced herself she was right. He showed me my life again, but this time I felt what others felt because of my actions. I felt the shame of the girl I spread rumors about. I felt her isolation, her tears in the bathroom stall. I felt my grandmother's heartbreak when I called her faith a mental illness. I felt my friend's rejection when I ditched him for cooler kids. "This is what you do not understand as humans," he communicated. "Every action ripples outward, every word carries weight, every choice shapes reality." But he also showed me good I had forgotten. At age 7, I shared my lunch with a hungry classmate. I felt his relief, his gratitude. At 14, I stood up for a bullied student. I felt her hope restored, small kindnesses I did not even remember. Holding a door, smiling at a stranger, listening to a friend. "These matter too," he said. "These echo in eternity." Ask yourself this question. If you saw your life through the eyes of those you have affected, what would you feel? Would you see love or pain? Would you see bridges or walls? "You did not bring me here to die, did you?" I asked. His response was clear. I brought you here to see, and then to tell. But I am nobody, I said. I am just a teenager, an atheist teenager who got everything wrong. That is exactly why, he replied. The unexpected messenger carries the most powerful message. Those who claim to know me already, many will not listen. They think they have all the answers. But you questioned everything. You demanded evidence. You thought critically. Now I am giving you evidence. I am giving you truth. And I am asking you to share it. Fear washed over me. What truth? What am I supposed to share? His face grew serious. The warmth remained, but gravity entered his expression. I am going to show you 3 events, 3 things that will happen before the year 2030. Why 2030, I asked. Because that is when a door closes. A window of mercy, a final warning. Some things are already set in motion. Some can still be changed, but humanity must choose. I do not want to see, I told him. I do not want this responsibility. His hand, or what felt like a hand, touched my forehead. You are stronger than you know, and you will not be alone. These visions will be difficult. You will see suffering. You will see consequences of human choices, but you will also see why I am warning them. You will see my heart for humanity. Are you ready? I was not ready. But I nodded anyway. Remember, he said, I show you these things not to create fear, but to inspire preparation. Not preparation of bunkers and supplies, though those may help. Preparation of the heart. Preparation of the spirit. Preparation to choose me when the pressure comes. The space around us began to shift. Reality was bending, time was folding. We are going to step outside linear time now, he explained. You will see what will be, not what might be. What will be if humanity continues its current path. Some will call you crazy. Some will mock you as you mocked others. Can you bear it? I took a deep breath. If you are with me, yes. Always. He promised. The space around us transformed into something like a viewing theater, except I was not watching a screen. I was being inserted into future moments. I could see, hear, smell, and feel, but as an observer, not a participant. Time markers appeared in my awareness, glowing like subtitles. Before 2030, before 2030, before 2030. Jesus remained beside me, his presence steadying me. Brace yourself, he communicated. The first vision is the hardest. Suddenly, I was standing on a city street I did not recognize. The architecture looked European, maybe Eastern Europe or somewhere in the Middle East. The sky was orange and gray, thick with smoke that burned my spiritual lungs. I could hear sirens wailing in the distance. Explosions rumbled like thunder. A date stamp appeared in my awareness. 2027, maybe 2028, not exact but close. The season felt like late summer or early fall. The vision rewound like someone pressing rewind on a video. I saw how it started. A political summit, leaders around a table, tension over resources, water rights, energy access. One leader, I could not see his face clearly, made a decision. A military movement, a territorial claim. This is the moment, Jesus explained, when pride overtook wisdom. One choice, one action, a cascade effect. I watched alliances activate like dominoes falling. Nations choosing sides not based on right or wrong, but on advantage. Days compressed into minutes before my eyes. Military buildups on borders, cyber attacks taking down power grids. Then I saw a major city. It looked like it could be in the Middle East or Eastern Europe. I saw recognizable landmarks, a downtown area, then a missile strike, an explosion blooming orange and black. Buildings collapsing like sandcastles, people screaming, running, chaos everywhere. The technology of this war was unlike anything I had seen. Thousands of drones moving in coordinated swarms like insects, weapons I could not name, directed energy beams, autonomous systems making kill decisions without human input, information warfare creating confusion about what was even real, deepfake videos of leaders saying things they never said. War fought on multiple planes, Jesus showed me, physical, digital, psychological, spiritual. Then, he brought me close to specific people, and this is what broke me. A mother clutching 2 children in a bombed-out basement. I could feel her terror, her desperation, her prayers. Please, God, save my babies. Take me, but save them. An elderly man sitting in rubble where his home used to be, holding a photograph of his deceased wife. I should have died with you, he whispered to the picture. A young soldier, maybe 19 years old, crying in a trench. He did not want to kill. He did not want to die. How did we get here? He asked no one. And I felt his question in my bones. Jesus showed me millions of people displaced, walking highways with everything they owned in bags and carts. Families separated at borders, children alone, lost, traumatized beyond measure, refugee camps stretching for miles, disease spreading, starvation, exposure to elements. One image burned itself into my memory. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, carrying a torn teddy bear. Her eyes were hollow. Her face was dirty. She was completely silent, not crying, not speaking, just walking. This is what breaks my heart most, Jesus said. The innocents. Always the innocents pay for the pride of the powerful. The vision expanded to show me global effects, supply chains collapsing, empty store shelves in countries not even involved in the fighting, food shortages, fuel shortages, economic panic, stock markets crashing, countries far from the battlefield suffering consequences, migration pressures causing tensions worldwide, authoritarian responses rising, martial law declared, rights suspended. The war does not stay contained, Jesus explained. It metastasizes. It reveals the fragility of human systems. Then he showed me something deeper. Underneath the physical war, I saw spiritual reality. Dark forces celebrating, feeding on fear and hatred like parasites. Demons whispering in the ears of leaders on both sides. Strike first. Show strength. They are evil. You are righteous. The same lies to both sides. But I also saw angels weeping, interceding, protecting wherever humans prayed. Pockets of light in the darkness. People choosing love despite fear. Churches, mosques, synagogues, and homes where people prayed together across all differences. This war is not just about land or resources, Jesus revealed. It is about forcing humanity to choose. Love or fear. Unity or division. Me or the enemy. Every war is a spiritual war wearing physical clothes. He showed me a specific moment, a decision point. Two leaders with a communication channel open between them. A choice to escalate or de-escalate. I could feel the weight of the moment, the fate of millions hanging on one decision. This is where it could end, Jesus said, or where it goes global. He did not show me which choice they make. Some futures are still fluid. Prayer can still alter outcomes. But if hearts do not change, this path is set. Jesus imprinted specific signs into my consciousness. An alliance between two nations that currently distrust each other. A natural disaster in Asia that shifts geopolitical focus. An assassination or attempted assassination of a Middle Eastern leader. When you see these signs, he said, know the clock is ticking. Not to create panic, but to create urgency for hearts to turn. When the vision faded, I was sobbing. Why? Why does this have to happen? It does not have to, Jesus responded. Humans have free will. I show you this not because I want it, but because I see the trajectory. Hearts are hard, pride is thick, leaders love power more than people, but there is still time. There is always time for repentance, until there is not. Will you stop it? I begged. I have given humanity the tools, conscience, wisdom, my word, my spirit. I do not puppet people. I invite, I warn, I woo. But I do not force. The war comes because of human choice, but how people respond, that is still open. Why show me the worst one first? I asked, because it is the most immediate, the most preventable, the most urgent. When you return, some will be alive who will experience this. They need to prepare, not just physically, but spiritually. Where will they turn when the world falls apart? To fear or to me? Your generation will face this. Your friends, your classmates, your future children, perhaps. They need to know I am still sovereign. I am still good. I am still in control. Even in war, I am present, especially in war. There are two more, Jesus said gently. This next one is different in nature, but connected in impact. Reality shifted again. I saw the earth from above, like a satellite view. Multiple locations lighting up simultaneously. The dates read 2028 or 2029 after the war begins or during it. I saw a massive earthquake, magnitude beyond recent history. The epicenter was on the Pacific Ring of Fire, but it was not just one quake. It was a cascade. I felt the earth groaning, shaking, breaking apart. A tsunami was generated, walls of water racing toward coastlines. I saw a coastal city. It looked like it could be in Asia or on the Pacific coast. People were running uphill. Water was chasing them. Some made it, many did not. The earthquake triggered other fault lines. A domino effect across continents. Volcanic activity increased globally. I saw a specific volcano erupting. Ash clouds spreading across the sky. Agriculture impacted, crops failing from ash. Temperatures cooling. This is the earth itself groaning, Jesus explained. Creation subjected to frustration, groaning for redemption. During or shortly after the natural disasters, I saw the financial system breaking. Stock market numbers falling like rocks, banks closing, ATMs empty, digital currency systems failing, people's savings evaporating overnight, panic buying, store riots. The systems you trust are more fragile than you know, Jesus said. I saw governments scrambling with emergency measures, talk of a global digital currency, a unified system, leaders proposing a solution to financial chaos, a new system promising stability and security. But Jesus showed me the cost: control, monitoring, loss of freedom. This is where the choice becomes visible, he said. Security or freedom, convenience or conviction, comfort or faith. People were desperate, afraid, willing to accept anything for stability. I saw lines of people waiting for food, water, aid, families fighting over supplies, neighbors who once helped each other now hoarding, suspicious, fearful. This is what happens when security is shaken, Jesus explained. You see who people really are, what they really worship. Do they worship me or comfort, safety, stuff? But the vision shifted to show me pockets of light again. Communities sharing resources, praying together. Churches opening as shelters and feeding centers. People risking their own security to help others. I saw one specific image that burned into my heart: an elderly woman with almost nothing giving her last can of food to a younger mother with children. I see you, Jesus told this woman in the vision, and somehow she felt it. She smiled through her tears. This is my church, Jesus said with such pride, not the buildings, the people who love like I love. Then I saw something unexpected. Many people turning to God in the crisis. Packed churches, street prayers, spontaneous worship. People who mocked faith suddenly desperate for it. Atheists crying out, God, if you are real, help us. Tragedy often breaks open hard hearts, Jesus explained. Some people will not seek me until everything else fails. I would rather they come willingly, but I will use crisis if that is what it takes. Jesus gave me markers for this event. A series of moderate earthquakes in unusual locations, warning tremors that scientists will notice. Financial instability starting in an unexpected country. A specific astronomical event I did not fully understand, maybe a comet or an eclipse. When you see these signs, know the shaking is near. How many will die? I asked, dreading the answer. Many, but also many will be saved, physically and spiritually. The earth must shake, the systems must break. Idols must fall. Humanity has built its security on sand. I am allowing the waves to come. Those built on rock, on me, will stand. Look inside your own heart right now. What are you building your life on? When everything shakes, what will remain? This last one, Jesus said, his tone shifting again. This one is about the greatest battle, truth versus lies. And it is the most important one for you to communicate clearly. I felt the weight of responsibility crushing down on me. I'm 15. I wanted to say, I cannot do this. You can. You will. I will help you. The timestamp read 2029 or 2030, the very end of the window he had shown me. I saw a massive gathering, a stadium-sized crowd, screens everywhere, faces wrapped with attention, glowing with hope. A leader was speaking. Charismatic, compelling, beautiful words flowing like honey. I could not see the face clearly. It kept shifting, remaining unclear. But the presence was magnetic, powerful, almost hypnotic. The leader spoke about unity, peace, solving the world's problems. After the war, after the shaking, people were desperate for solutions. This leader was offering everything they wanted to hear. This is the danger of charisma without character, Jesus said. Words without truth. The leader spoke of global unity and cooperation. We are all one. All paths lead to the same truth. All faiths worship the same God. It sounded beautiful, tolerant, loving. The crowd was cheering, crying, feeling hope for the first time in years. But Jesus showed me the spiritual reality underneath, darkness masquerading as light. Lies wrapped in truth-flavored packaging. The greatest deceptions always contain 90% truth, Jesus explained. It is the 10% poison that kills. The leader unveiled technology, some kind of solution to the problems plaguing humanity. I could not see the specifics clearly, but I understood its function, connection, integration, efficiency, everyone connected, no one left behind. A perfect system. But Jesus showed me the strings attached, monitoring, control, loss of privacy, unable to buy or sell without participating in the system. Mark of allegiance, Jesus called it, though it was not explicitly a physical mark. It is about what you bow to, what system you trust, who you worship. This leader embraced all religions superficially, appearing in churches, mosques, synagogues, temples. The message was always the same. We all worship the same love, the same light, the same truth. Many religious leaders endorsed this person. Finally, they said, someone who brings us together. But Jesus showed me the compromise of essential truths. I am the way, the truth, the life. This claim was rejected as divisive. Christianity was becoming one path among many. Those who claimed Jesus as the only way were labeled hateful, divisive, dangerous. Then the persecution began. Those refusing to embrace this unity message were marginalized. Christians who would not compromise were called extremists. It started subtle. Social pressure, job loss, removal from platforms. Then it escalated. Legal consequences, restrictions on movement and speech. I saw a believer fired for refusing to affirm that all paths are equal. Another denied a business license for discriminatory beliefs. Churches closed for hate speech because they preached Jesus as the only way. This is the cost of following me when culture turns, Jesus said. But I never promised easy. I promised worth it. The vision showed me a literal fork in the road. People standing at the split having to choose. One path was wide, easy, popular, leading to acceptance, comfort, and security. The other path was narrow, difficult, lonely, leading to persecution, but also to Jesus. There was some visible way people had to choose. An allegiance pledge maybe, technology acceptance, a public declaration. It was not entirely clear, but what was clear is that neutrality became impossible. You will have to declare who you belong to, Jesus emphasized. He showed me what happens to those who choose him. Underground churches, secret meetings, believers supporting each other, sharing resources and hidden networks, supernatural provision, food multiplying, protection from danger in impossible circumstances, angels visible to spiritual eyes surrounding the faithful ones, and joy. Inexplicable, supernatural joy despite persecution. They will have me, Jesus said simply, and I am enough. I have always been enough. Then he showed me what happens to those who do not choose him. Temporary comfort, temporary security, but spiritual emptiness, growing darkness, deception deepening until they could not see truth anymore. When you reject truth long enough, Jesus explained sadly, you lose the ability to recognize it. Your conscience sears. Your spirit hardens. You believe the lies. I saw people with hollow eyes going through motions, physically alive but spiritually dead. Jesus pulled back the veil further. He showed me the spiritual realm behind these events. Demonic celebration. This leader was their puppet. The ancient enemy's final play before the end. A battle for souls. The last harvest before judgment. This is why I am warning you, Jesus said. This is why you must tell them. So many will be deceived. Good people, nice people, sincere people, because they valued comfort over truth, acceptance over conviction, unity over me. Why 2030? I asked again. Because my Father has set times and seasons, because mercy has a limit, not because I am unmerciful, but because justice demands it, because the door of the ark must eventually close. 2030 is not the end of the world, he clarified, but it is the end of this season of grace, the end of the warning period. What comes after, you do not need to see. Not yet. Jesus gave me markers for this final event. A global crisis demanding a global solution. A political figure rising quickly with unusual charisma. Religious leaders forming an unprecedented coalition. Technology presented as a solution to human suffering. Growing persecution of traditional and exclusive truth claims. When you see these converging, Jesus said, "No, the final choice is upon humanity." After the third vision ended, I collapsed spiritually. I cannot do this. This is too much. I'm just a kid. Nobody will believe me. I was weeping, overwhelmed, wanting to stay dead rather than carry this burden. Send someone else, someone older, respected, qualified. Jesus knelt beside me, or whatever the spiritual equivalent is. His eyes held mine. "Sarah, you are exactly who I need. You have no religious credentials, no agenda, no career to protect. You are an atheist, the unlikeliest messenger. That is your power. Your testimony cannot be dismissed as religious bias. You have nothing to gain, everything to lose by sharing this. That is precisely why some will listen. The ones I am trying to reach, the skeptics, the seekers, the questioners, they will hear you in ways they would never hear a preacher. Jesus took my hands or my consciousness. I am sending you back. You are not meant to die today. Your mission is to tell them what you saw. Warn them, prepare them. Not to create fear, but to create urgency for authentic faith. Not to predict dates, but to inspire readiness of heart. Not to judge, but to invite them to me before it is too late. I will give you memory beyond normal human memory. You will recall these visions with clarity when you need to. I will give you courage when fear overwhelms you. I will give you words when you do not know what to say. And I will give you my presence, always. You are never alone now. Then he gave me a choice. I am giving you a choice too, Sarah. You have free will. You can stay here with me. You can come home. Your life's work is done, or you can return. Live with this burden. Speak this message. Face mockery and doubt. He showed me my life if I returned. The struggles, the ridicule, the loneliness, but also the lives touched, the souls saved, the kingdom impact. What do you choose? Every part of me wanted to stay. The peace, the love, the presence. Nothing on earth could compare. But I thought of my friends, my classmates, my generation. I thought of the war, the shaking, the deception, all coming if I can save even one person from that future. If I can help even one person choose you, I will go back. Send me back. I will tell them. Jesus smiled. I knew you would. You are braver than you know. Remember, Sarah, these events are not my desire. They are humanity's trajectory. I take no joy in judgment. I died to prevent it. But free will means consequences. Choices mean outcomes. Tell them there is still time, not much but enough. Tell them I am calling them home, all of them, every single one. Tell them the door is open, but it will not stay open forever. His last words before sending me back were these. Tell them I love them, even when they hate me, especially then. Then suddenly, brutally, I was slammed back into my body.